Hi, welcome to Rules Challenge. I'm Carter Maxwell, and in this episode we're going to be taking a look at the game Pax Pamir. If you're new to the show, this is basically just a test of your understanding of the rules, but instead of asking you questions from the rule book, it'll be like you're watching a real game being played, and then just at the end of a turn I ask legal or illegal, and your job is to figure out if what you saw in that turn had been done correctly. I do also try to make sure that over the course of the video I incorporate all the main types of actions. So, in this case, the video ended up running a bit longer than I intended, but the good news is that if you're new to the game, you're going to see just about everything that can be done in the game. Bribes, battles, gifts, prizes, whatever. A couple of things I should mention before we get started. I've already recorded all the turns of the challenge already, and I realized well into that process that I was using a couple terms incorrectly. So you'll hear me when I'm talking about the cards in a player's play area. I keep calling it their tableau. The game has a term for that. It's their court. So when you hear me say tableau, I'm talking about a player's court. Also, at some point, I realized that I kept calling the core actions main actions. So when you hear main action, I just mean what the rulebook calls a core action. As usual with my videos, we're starting things with the game already well underway, so don't be surprised that with the very first turn you see lots of pieces already out on the map and lots of cards in play. All right, with that, I think we're ready to get started on the challenge. It's Red's turn now, so we'll start things off with them. And they want to purchase a card for their first action. Looking at the market, they want this Alexander Burns card in the first column that has a rupee on it, so they'll take that and the card. They'll put the coin in their own stash of coins and add the card to their hand. For their second action, they're going to play that card into the right side of their tableau. That's a Punjab card, and it calls for 2 spies. Looking over the table, they see several Punjab cards. They decided to place one on Yellow's Punjab card. Yellow happens to be the ruler of Punjab right now. And they place the other one onto one of Blue's Punjab cards. Red isn't going to take any bonus actions, so to finish up their turn, they'll check their tableau size, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, and their hand size, which is currently 2 cards, so they won't discard any cards. And to wrap up, they'll refill the market. We're starting out fairly basic here, but this is a rule that people break all the time even though they know it perfectly well. Red's mistake was not paying a bribe to the ruler of Punjab when this card was played. And that ruler was Yellow. This one was a little hard to demonstrate without giving it away, so I tried to drop a hint there in pointing out when I placed the spy that Yellow was the ruler of Punjab. And the cost of the bribe is the number of tribes the ruler has in that region. So when Red played a Punjab card, they should have looked to see if it was ruled, who ruled it, and how many tribes that ruler had. Yellow has 1 tribe in Punjab, so the bribe would have been 1 rupee. And I should note that the ruler can always decide to waive that requirement, but in this case, Red didn't even ask. Now it's Black's turn, and for their first action, they also want to purchase a card. Looking at the market, they like this Wheatfields card in the first column. It has 2 rupees on it, so they'll take those. Take the card. They'll stash those coins and add the card to their hand. For their second action, they want to play a card. They'll play that same card they just purchased to the right side of their tableau. They don't want to make Red's mistake, so they'll check if somebody rules that region. That's a Herat card. And they see that Herat is currently ruled by Gray. I'm sure these symbols are too small for you to see, so you can just take my word for it that that is the Herat ruler token. So they'll check how many tribes Gray has in Herat, and it's just 1. So Black gives Gray 1 rupee, and then they'll resolve that card they just played. and it shows one road. Black is currently loyal to the British, so they'll place a British road, and they'll place it crossing from Herat into Kandahar. Now they'll evaluate if that has any effect on rule. In Herat, gray is loyal to Russia. They have one tribe and there's one Russian piece. And there's no other tribe present, so they won't change anything there. In Kandahar, red is also loyal to Russia. They have one tribe and there's one Russian piece. Black is loyal to the British. They have one tribe and there's a British piece here and a British piece here. So they'll take the ruler token and they'll add it to their play area. Now black wants to take a bonus action, so they'll check what the current favored suit is. And they see that currently it's economics. That Wheatfields card they just played is an economics card. And they want to use the move action. This is a rank 2 card showing 2 flags. But they only want to move once. They'll move one of their spies here, one space to this card. To wrap up their turn, they'll check their tableau size. 1, 2, 3, 4. They'll check their cards. They have just 2. And finally, they'll refill the market. The mistake this time was that black misunderstood how to evaluate rule of a region. Roads do not count. So when they were figuring out who ruled Kandahar, the calculation should have been one tribe for red, one army for red for 2 points, one tribe for black, one army for black, 2 points, and the road not considered, so this would have been a tie, and the ruler token should have stayed there. Now it's yellow's turn, and with both of their main actions, they want to purchase a card. The first one they want to purchase is this one in column 1, so they'll place a rupee on the first column, and then take this card and the coin on top of it. For their second purchase, they want this card here, which is in column number 2. So they'll place a rupee on this card here, and then a rupee on this card here, and take the card. They'll add those cards to their hand. And to wrap up their turn, they'll check their tableau size. They have just 3 cards in play. Checking their hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. But they have this rank 2 intelligence card in play, so they won't discard any cards from their hand. There's an event card in the 0 column, so they'll resolve that. It says, failure to impress. All discard all loyalty prizes. At this time, none of the players have any loyalty prizes, so we'll just go ahead and discard the card. We'll keep the rupee in that space. Then they refill the market. We'll put this coin on top of this one. Then draw new cards. And that finishes the turn. Everything was done correctly this turn, but there were a few things about managing the market that I thought were interesting. One is, remember when you're paying rupees for the purchase of a card from the market, if you reach an empty space, the rupee goes on the other card in that same column, like we saw yellow do here. You know, they had bought a card from here, and then they bought this one, so when they were paying their rupees, since this space was open, they paid it on the other row. Also, during cleanup, we saw an event card get activated and removed from the market. If it has a coin on it, that coin stays in the same space. It doesn't get returned to the bank. So it was correct that it was just left there, and then when these cards slid over, it was placed on top of this card. I also want to point out that the new cards were brought out in the right order. I don't think it's an issue so much nowadays, but like I had an old version of the rule book that had it worded in a confusing way that made it sound like you should bring new cards out from the rightmost space and work left, but this was correct. You start with the leftmost open space, fill that, and then if the column's filled, then you move to the next column and fill that from top to bottom. So the correct order was 1, 2, 3. And last, I want to note something about checking your hand size at the end of your turn. Sometimes people will think that yellow needed to discard a card from their hand in this situation because they have 4 cards in their hand, but they have just 1 blue card in their tableau. Remember though that the increase in your maximum hand size is not just 1 card per intelligence card, it's 1 card per rank of your intelligence cards. This card is a rank 2, so yellow's allowed 2 extra cards in their hand. So instead of having just 2 or 3, they could have 4. And it's basically the same thing with the number of cards in your tableau and politics cards. Normally you're allowed 3, but you're allowed 1 more per rank of your politics cards. Yellow has 1 politics card of rank 1, so they could actually have 4 in their tableau right now rather than the normal 3. Now it's Gray's turn, and with their first action, they want to purchase a card. They want to purchase this first card here, which has 3 rupees on it, so they'll take those and the card. They'll stash those coins and add the card to their hand. And now they actually want to play a card, but a different card. And they'll play this one here on the left side of their tableau. Now they'll check to see if they have to pay a bribe. That's a Herat card, and they are the ruler of Herat right now, so that's not necessary. So now they can resolve the card, and that calls for a road and an army, and they are loyal to Russia, so it'll be they'll both be Russian pieces. They'll place the road from Herat to Kabul, and then the army in Herat. Now they'll take a bonus action. The favored suit is still economics, and they have 3 economics cards, so they have several options here. On this card, they can take a gift action, so they'll do that. They don't currently have any gifts, so the first space, they'll pay 2 for that. So they'll place a rupee on this card here and on this card here, and then place a cylinder. Now they want to use another bonus action, and this time they'll use the battle action on this card. And that's a rank 1 card. They decided to battle in Kandahar, and they're loyal to Russia, so they'll use this Russian army to remove this British army. Checking to see if that affected rule, red is loyal to Russia, so they're at 2 points, and black is loyal to the British, so they're at just 1 point. So it's 2 to 1, red now rules. And we'll move the Kandahar token from black to red. And as we discussed earlier, black shouldn't have been holding it in the first place. Gray's going to wrap up their turn there. And then normally we would be checking tableau cards and hand cards. We've talked about that plenty though, so for the rest of the video I won't make you go through that part of a turn. You can just assume it's being done correctly by the players. They'll refill the market. And that ends Gray's turn. No mistakes were made that turn. One thing I would note is that people sometimes assume that you can only take 1 bonus action on your turn in addition to your 2 regular actions, but there's no hard limit on the bonus actions other than how many cards you have that match the current favored suit. On this turn, Gray had multiple cards that matched the economic suit, so they were able to take multiple bonus actions. Remember though that each card can only be used once per turn for its card-based actions, regardless of whether it's a main action or a bonus action. It's Blue's turn now, and for their first action they want to play a card. So they'll play this one here to the left side of their tableau. That's a Trans-Caspia card, so they'll check to see if anyone rules that. It is not currently ruled, so they won't pay a bribe for that. And that card shows a single tribe. So they'll place one of their blue cylinders there. Now they'll check for a change of rule. Blue is loyal to the British, so their one tribe puts them at 1 point. But they're the only tribe present, so they'll go ahead and take this token. And they'll place it in their play area. For their second action, they want to purchase a card. They want this card from column number 2, so they'll pay a rupee here and a rupee here and take the card. They'll add the card to their hand. And now they want to take a bonus action. Favorite suit is still economics, so they want to use this economics card here. There's one spy on the card, belongs to black, so they'll pay a 1 rupee bribe to black. They're going to use this tax action, and it's a rank 2 card, so they can gain 2 rupees. And they'll take both of them from the market from this card here. Their tableau and hand size look good, so they'll go ahead and refill the market. And that ends their turn. This turn we had another player with a misunderstanding about how to determine rule of a region. Blue thought that because they were the only player with a tribe in Transcaspia, they were the only player that could rule it. You do have to have a tribe present, but that's not sufficient by itself. You must have a plurality of the pieces that go into calculating rule, which is tribes and armies. The calculation should have been simple. 1 tribe loyal to the British, 1 army loyal to Russia. Thus, it's 1 to 1, and nobody rules. Now we're back around to red, and they want to first take advantage of a special ability. Their Herati Bandits card says blackmail. At start of turn, you may place a spy on any Herat court card without a spy. Gray has a new Herat court card that doesn't have a spy on it, so red will put a cylinder there. For their first action, they're going to play a card. And that's the Persia card, so they'll check for rule. Nobody currently rules Persia, so they won't pay a bribe. That card is an Afghan patriot, and red is currently loyal to Russia, so they're going to have to make some changes. First, they'll check to see if they have any Russian patriots they need to lose, but the rest of their cards aren't patriots. Then they'll change their dial from Russian to Afghan. They'll check to see if that change affected rule anywhere. They only have the 1 tribe, so only Kandahar could be affected. Now that their loyalty is Afghan, they just have 1 point. Black is loyal to the British, so they have 1 point, so it's a tie, so they'll return the rule marker there. Now to finish resolving the card, it calls for 1 tribe in Persia and a change of the favored suit to intelligence. So they'll place a tribe in Persia. They'll move the favored suit marker to intelligence. And they'll check for a change of rule in Persia. They have the 1 point from their tribe. They're loyal to the Afghans, and there's 2 Afghan armies there, so they have a total of 3, and there's 1 British army, so it's 3 to 1, so they'll take that ruler token. And they'll put that in their play area. For their second action, they want to use a card-based action on that card they just played. And they'll use the betray action on that card. They'll pay those 2 coins to the right side of the market. Now they pick a card to betray, and they go with this one here that has one of their own spies and a blue spy on it. So they'll return the spies to their respective supplies. Now red decides whether to keep this card as a gift or discard it. They don't want to change their loyalty to Russian, so they'll just discard it. Earlier this turn, red switched the favored suit to intelligence, so they want to take advantage of that now and take a bonus action. And they'll use the tax action on this card. That was a rank 1 action, so they'll just take 1 coin. They'll take it from this market card here. To wrap up, their tableau size and hand size are good, so that'll end their turn. There were a couple things about this turn that I find interesting. First, when you take a betray action, the card you discard doesn't have to have a plurality of your own spies on it. This is different than holding a card hostage where you do have to have a plurality. As long as you have at least one spy on the card, you can betray it. And that's one of the dangers of stacking too many of your spies on one card. Someone can drop a single spy in there, betray it, and wipe them all out. I'm sure blue didn't like losing their spy, but it could have been more. And remember that you don't have to take the card as a prize. That's optional. And by the way, it might be worth noting that this was not a case of using two card-based actions on a single card in the same turn. At the start of the turn, a red had used this blackmail ability and then later used this tax action. But the special abilities are not a card-based action, so you can use this and also use this action. Now it's black's turn, and for their first action, they're going to play a card. That's a Kandahar card, and we saw just a short while ago that no one currently rules it, so black won't pay a bribe. And then to resolve the card, it calls for 2 roads and 1 army. Black is still loyal to the British, so they'll place British pieces. They'll place a road from Kandahar to Punjab, one from Kandahar to Kabul, and a British army. Checking for a change of rule. It's 1 piece for the Russians, 1 piece loyal to the Afghans, and 2 pieces for the British. So black will wins that 2 to 1 to 1, and we'll take that token. For their second action, they're going to use this rank 2 battle action, and they're not going to pay a bribe because there's 1 blue spy and 1 black spy on the card. First, they'll use their army in Kandahar to remove this Russian army. And second, they'll use their army in Persia to remove one of these Afghan armies. Checking for a change of rule in Kandahar, nothing changed. Black already ruled it. Checking Persia, nothing changed here either. Red's loyal to the Afghans, so they were 3 to 1, now they're 2 to 1. Now black wants to take a bonus action. The favored suit is still intelligence, or as I like to call it, blue. And so they're going to use an action on this card. They'll use this movement. It's rank 2, but they're just going to move this 1 piece, 1 space to the right. They're done taking actions, and they are over their card limit in their tableau now. They're allowed 4 cards, so they'll discard 1. Their hand size is good. They don't need to refill the market, so that ends their turn. Black's mistake was that they resolved a single battle action in 2 different regions. When the card's battle action shows 2 explosions, you don't resolve it as if you're starting 2 separate battles. You still just choose a single region or core card. Then, in addition to removing just a single enemy piece, you can remove a second piece if you yourself have another piece that can engage in the battle. So there are a couple different ways that people tend to resolve this action incorrectly. One is the way that black did it, by removing a single enemy piece in one region and then removing a single enemy piece in another region. Another way is removing 2 enemy pieces in the same region or card, but where the attacker only had 1 piece that could attack. Say when it was like this, if black had said, okay, well, I'm attacking with this army and removing this. Then with the second explosion, I'm attacking with this army again and attacking this piece. That would also be illegal. Now yellow's up, and to start things off, they're going to take a bonus action using their intelligence card here. That's being held hostage by gray, so they'll pay a 1 rupee bribe to gray. Now they're going to take this rank 2 battle action. Yellow's loyal to the Afghans, so they'll use this Afghan army to remove this British army. And there isn't a second Afghan army, so yellow will just settle for removing that 1 piece. For their first main action, they're going to play a card. That's a Trans-Caspia card, and Trans-Caspia is currently ruled by blue. And blue has 1 tribe there, so yellow will pay 1 rupee to blue. The card has a number of effects. First off, it shows a tribe. So yellow will place a tribe in Trans-Caspia. Checking for a change of rule. Yellow is loyal to the Afghans, so that's 1 point. Blue is loyal to the British for 1 point. And then there's the Russian army for 1 point. It's a tie, so we'll return the ruler marker there. And again, that's where it would have been anyway, if not for Blue's mistake earlier. Then the card calls for 1 spy. So Yellow needs to choose a Transcaspia card to put a spy on, and she'll go with this one here. And last, the card calls for the favored suit to be changed to military. So Yellow does that. Before doing a second main action, Yellow wants to take advantage of the fact that the favored suit is now military. So they're going to take a bonus action on this military card, and they'll use this second rank battle action. They're going to choose to battle on this card where they had just placed their spy a moment ago, and they'll remove this black spy. For their second main action, Yellow will use an action on the card they just played, and they'll use this battle action. Yellow will choose to battle in Punjab. They're loyal to the Afghans, so they'll use this army to remove this British road. Just a road was removed, so that can't affect rule in either region. So to wrap up Yellow's turn, their tableau size is good, their hand size is good, nothing needs to be refilled in the market, so that ends their turn. Everything was done correctly that turn. A couple things I want to mention. First, really basic, you don't have to do your actions in a set order of main action, then bonus action. You can do them in any order you want. So here, Yellow did a bonus action first, then a main action, then a bonus action, then a main action. That order's fine. Also, you'll remember that when you have a card that's held hostage, it doesn't mean that you can't take card-based actions on it. It just means you have to pay a bribe to the player holding it hostage, or convince them to waive the bribe. And remember that the bribe is always 1 rupee per spy that the hostage taker has on the card. So let's say it had looked something like this, where Gray only had 1 more spy than Yellow. Yellow might have been tempted to pay 1 rupee for the difference, but nope, the card's being held hostage. Just count the spies of the hostage taker and pay them 1 rupee per spy. All right, moving on to Gray. For their first action, they're going to play a card. That's a Persia card, and that's currently ruled by Red, so Gray will pay Red 1 rupee. That card is a British Patriot card, so Gray needs to lose any Russian Patriots if they have any, but they don't. They do have 1 gift, so they'll have to lose that. And then they'll switch their dial to British. The card shows 1 spy, so Gray will put a spy on a Persia card, and they'll go with this one here. Now they'll check to see if that change in loyalty affected rule in any of the regions. Gray only has the 1 tribe on the map, that's in Herat. When they were loyal to Russia, it was 3-0, but now that they're loyal to the British, they're 1, Russia's 2, so they lose control of that region, so they'll return the ruler marker. For their second main action, or core action I guess I should be calling them, they want to use this build action on this card that's being held hostage by Yellow. There's 1 spy there, so they'll pay Yellow 1 rupee. They want to build 2 pieces, so they'll pay 4 rupees for that. They'll pay those to the right side of the market. 1, 2, 3, 4. Gray is loyal to the British, so they'll use British pieces. And they want to place 2 armies in Kandahar. Checking to see if that has any effect on rule. Gray doesn't have a tribe there. Red is loyal to the Afghans, so they just are at 1 point. Black is loyal to the British, so they're at 4 points, so they'll continue to rule there. Gray is done taking actions, so they'll check their tableau size. and they have one card too many, so they'll discard this one here and return red spy to them. Their hand size is good, the market doesn't need to be refilled, so their turn is done. The mistake Gray made was that they did a build action in a region they do not rule. In fact, they don't currently rule any regions. One of the challenges of the build action is that you have to rule a region for it to be of any use to you, which isn't always that easy to maintain. If Gray had taken that build action while they still ruled Herat and did the build in Herat, then it would have been legal. But of course then they would have been building Russian blocks, which they didn't want to do since they intended to change loyalty. A couple other things I want to touch on that were done correctly, but I think are interesting. One is, you might have noticed that Gray had discarded a card that had a red spy on it. And that's fine. You can never voluntarily discard a card, but if you're required to get rid of one, it's fine if it has other player spies on it. Another thing, notice that there aren't any players anymore who are loyal to Russia. So during that turn, when rule was checked in Herat, nobody was loyal to Russia. I can imagine someone thinking, but wait, nobody's loyal to Russia, so you shouldn't count those pieces. But that doesn't matter. You count armies for a coalition even if no player is loyal to it. It's Blue's turn, and for their first core action, they're going to play a card. No one currently rules Kabul, so they won't pay a bribe. The card shows 2 tribes, 1 army, and 1 spy, and they're currently loyal to the British. They'll place their 2 tribes there, and a British army. They'll check for a change of rule. They're at 1, 2, 3. To just 1 for this Afghan army, so they'll take the ruler token. And they still need to place a spy on a Kabul card, so they'll go with this one here in yellow's tableau. For their second core action, they're going to tax using this rank 2 Transcaspia card. And that card's being held hostage by yellow. So they'll pay 1 rupee to yellow. Instead of taxing from the market, they want to tax a player. They know they currently rule Kabul. They look around and see that red currently has a Kabul card in play, so they decide to tax them. Checking over red's whole tableau, they see that red has just 1 economics card. It's rank 2, and red has 6 rupees, so they'll go ahead and take 2 rupees from red. The current suit is military, so now they're going to take a bonus action on this military card. That's a rank 3 movement action. First, they'll move a British army from Kandahar across this road into Kabul. Then they'll move one of their spies 2 spaces, 1, 2. To wrap up, Blue's tableau size and hand size are good. They don't need to refill the market, so that ends their turn. Everything was done correctly this turn, but I do want to touch on taxing. There tends to be some confusion about which players you can tax, as opposed to simply taking taxes from the market. If you want to take taxes from a player, then you look at what regions you rule and see if the player has a card matching one of those regions. Here, Blue knew they ruled Herat, and so they looked to see which players had a Herat card in their court. And they saw that red had one, so they knew red was eligible to be taxed. People will often look to the region on their tax card and look for a player who has a card matching that region, then try to tax them. The region of the card with the tax action, though, is irrelevant. This is a Transcaspia card, so in other words, Blue couldn't just look to somebody who has a Transcaspia card and tax them. It had to be somebody with a Herat card. I think this is a case where playing to the theme of the game rather than just playing it as an abstract actually helps you remember a rule. In real life, it would be hard to tax people in a region that you don't rule. And it would be hard to tax them if they're not active there. So the card in their play area tells you that they're active there. Another thing about taxes, remember that they always come from either the market or an eligible player, or a combination of both. They never come from supply. It's not uncommon for there to be no rupees in the market and no player that you can legally tax. So in that case, the tax action would do you no good. Also, note that blue is able to tax red for 2 rupees, even though red has this economics card that gives some protection against taxation. This is a rank 2 economics card, so 2 of red's rupees are protected. So if red had had only 1 or 2 rupees, blue wouldn't have been able to tax them. But they had 6, so 4 of those rupees were unprotected, and blue could lay claim to them. Now it's red's turn, and for their first core action, they will purchase a card. They want this card here, and the favored suit is still military, so they'll pay 2 rupees to this card and 2 rupees to this card. And then they'll take this rupee and the card. For their second action, they want to play that same card, so they'll just go ahead and do that now. That's a Herat card, and no one rules Herat right now, so they won't pay a bribe. The card calls for 2 tribes and a change of the favored suit to political. They'll place 2 of their cylinders in Herat. They'll move the favored suit marker. And then they check for a change of rule. They're loyal to the Afghans, so they have 2 points. Gray is loyal to the British, so they have 1 point. And then there's the 2 points here for the Russian armies. So it's 2, 1, 2. So still nobody rules there. Now that the favored suit has changed to political, they want to take a bonus action on this political card, and they'll use the battle action. They decide to battle on this card in their own court. They have 1 spy there, and their fellow Afghan loyalist, yellow, has 2 spies there. So they'll take one of those spies and return it to yellow. They decide to not take any more actions. They check their court size. That's fine. Their hand size is good. They refill the market. And that ends their turn. The most notable thing about this turn was that red battled the spy of a player who was also loyal to the Afghans. You can't battle the tribe of a player belonging to the same loyalty, but their spies are fair game, so attacking yellow's spy here was legal. Now black's up, and with their first core action, they want to play a card. I'll play that to the right side. That's a Trans-Caspia card. No one rules there, so they won't pay a bribe. It shows a road, a spy, and the leveraged icon. Black is loyal to the British, and so they'll place a British road from Trans-Caspia to Kabul. They'll place their spy on one of blue's Trans-Caspia cards. And then for that leveraged icon, they'll gain 2 rupees from the supply. The favored suit is still political, so they're going to take a bonus action on this political card. And they'll use its betray action. They'll pay 2 rupees for that action, so they'll pay 1 there and 1 there. And they'll betray this Trans-Caspia card in blue's court that has their black spy on it. They'll return that disc to their supply, and then they will take that card as a prize. So they'll just slip it under their wheel here. They were already loyal to the British, so taking that prize won't change their loyalty. For their second core action, they're going to purchase a card. They want to purchase this dominance check, so they'll pay 5 rupees, placing 1, 1, 1, 1, and 1. And then they'll take the rupee that's on the card and the card itself. So now they'll do a dominance check. Quickest way is usually just to check the pieces in the storage tray, but we'll do it out on the map here. Russia has 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces out. The Afghans have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the British have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the British have at least 4 more than both the other 2 coalitions, so it is a successful check. Since the check was successful, we need to determine the loyalties of the players. Red and yellow were loyal to the Afghans, so they're out. Black was loyal to the British. They don't have any gifts. They get 1 for their wheel, 1 for this prize, and 1 for this Patriot, for a total of 3. Gray and blue were both loyal to the British. Neither has any gifts. Gray gets 1 for the wheel and 1 for this Patriot for 2. And blue gets 1 for their wheel and 1 for a Patriot, also for 2. So we'll give black 5 points, moving from 3 to 8. Gray and blue tied, so that's 3 plus 1 divided by 2. They'll each get 2 points. Oops. Since it was a successful check, now we'll resolve an uneasy piece, which just means clearing the blocks off the board. Now we'll check to see if that affected rule anywhere. Transcaspia is still tied 1 to 1, so that'll stay in place. In Kabul, blue has 2. They already ruled the region, so that stays the same. In Persia, red has 1. They already ruled there. In Herat, it's now 2 for red, 1 for gray, so red now rules there, and they'll take that token. Kandahar is now tied 1 to 1, so that'll be returned from black to the map. In Punjab, yellow has 1, and they already ruled there. Nobody leads by 4 or more, so the game will continue. So black will finish up their turn. Black has no cards in their hand, so that's fine. They do have too many cards in their court, though, so they'll discard 1. They'll refill the market, and that ends their turn. Black did 2 things wrong, but there was a lot going on this turn, and they were both pretty subtle, so don't feel bad if you missed one or both of them. First, when they betrayed this card in Blue's court, that was Blue's last Transcaspia political card, so the overthrow rule should have been applied. That means they should have looked to Transcaspia to see if Blue had any tribes there and then remove them. It wouldn't have affected scoring during the dominance check, but it will affect things going forward. Also, Blue should not have been able to purchase that dominance check card. Recall that when they took the betray action, they had to pay 2 rupees for that, so they placed a rupee there and a rupee there. Once you place a rupee on a card during your turn, for any reason, you're not allowed to purchase that card for the rest of your turn. All right, I think that's a good place to wrap up the challenge. I hope you got something useful out of the video. If you think I got something wrong or just have a question, don't hesitate to leave a comment. Again, I'm Carter Maxwell. This has been Rules Challenge, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks.